My name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fabric number 2. So I want to talk to you guys real quick about independent filmmaking. Alright, so as you guys know, I make these videos all the time, because I am an independent filmmaker. And I used to be a great independent filmmaker, and then I joined the army and my leg got fucked up. So, yeah. Alright, so we have a lot of issues here in Virginia, specifically Charlottesville, because, you know, we have statute issues, and we still have racial issues, and we have issues that people don't really want to address. Alright? Luckily for y'all, this video isn't about any of that shit, but I will touch on that statue thing, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be a interesting video that I'm going to make. But as far as making it here in Virginia, there is no excuse for there not to be successful actors in Virginia. There is no excuse for things not to be filmed here. There is no excuse for things not to be filmed anywhere. Anywhere there's a video camera, you have the actual opportunity and the ability to make a film. The problem is that most people don't want to invest in your film. The problem is that most people don't want to work for free. The problem is most people don't want to work at all. And when it comes to making independent films, there's two very important things that need to happen. First, the first important thing that needs to happen is that when you are casting for a film, you have to have people who are loyal, connected, and committed to actually making a good film. Because in the independent film business, I'm going to explain this to everyone who is not an independent filmmaker. Hollywood people already know this shit, but for those who are independent filmmakers who know this shit, and everyone who's dreaming of acting or attempting to act or doing what I was attempting to do to make a name for myself so I could teach Kung Fu for free, it's not just the person whose name is on the script or the movie's project. It is everyone's project. If you are an actor in an independent film, you have to put forth your best because it is your stamp of approval that very well may open that door to launch your ass to Hollywood. But if you're not willing to commit, and if you're not willing to work, and if you're not willing to focus and put everything you have into it, and you're just like, oh, I'm going to be mediocre, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to do whatever he tells me to do, but I'm not going to make any suggestions, I'm not going to do anything. This is where you fuck up. When I make my independent films, you can ask any of my actors that are in there with me, any of my co-stars, I ask them for their opinion. And 9 times out of 10, your shit's way better than what I thought when I wrote it down. And it puts input. Because I had, with my Guardians of the Earth, I had something that I wanted Courtney to say. He came up with something way more superior. So we used that. He's like, how about I do this? I was like, okay. And the thing with independent films, it's everybody's baby. It's not just the guy behind the camera. It's not just you in front of the camera. It's everybody involved in its baby. Everyone has to give 100%. You ain't got to give me that 110%, but that 100%, it does count. Every bit of you being in the film counts. And having actors walk from some films, yes, it does happen. Having actors change their mind at the last minute, and it's nothing really legal I can do about it, even if they signed the waiver. They only signed the waiver so that I could use their footage. They didn't sign the waiver saying, you gotta take me out of film. No, see, once you sign that waiver, everything that I've shot, it's mine to use as well. Now, I mentioned that because in one of my other films, The Dragon's Breath, the young lady who was supposed to be the star, she completely hit Spittsville, literally the day before we were supposed to shoot. We only got one rehearsal in because everybody else was only supposed to have mediocre small parts for the classroom, and then everything else was supposed to be about her, me, and the fights. They didn't go over very well, and not having a chick, I had to find footage of girls that happened to just walk past my camera. So thank you to you mysterious ladies, because they made it in there. Now, as far as Dragon's Breath, I don't have the footage of it to where I can use it. I don't know where it is because it got destroyed in a shed, just like my original Guardians of the Earth thing. But you can find Path of Ascension or Ascension on Kung Fu Havoc #1, which I no longer have control over, but if you find it, and if you are on Kung Fu Havoc #1 looking for new shit, you need to come to Kung Fu Havoc #2. The guy staying on the dinosaur, he's right here. Anyway, the whole thing is that when you are making an independent film, if you're an actor, or if you're the guys running behind the scenes, or if you're like me, you're wearing all the hats because it's my film, it's not just my film. Despite I just said that it's my film, despite that I said that, it is also your film because how you act and portray the character you are given helps me, but it helps you because it also means that you're on your feet and you're thinking, and we're making this movie that involves you doing some physical combat shit. So the dialogue is important, and a lot of us, when they read what I wrote, they're like, well, James, honestly, I don't think that I would say that if I was this guy in real life. And I said, okay, so what would you say? So when the actors have that, that one-on-one time, a lot of the shit that we do, in fact, most of the shit we've done has gone off script. Now, the events around us are scripted, but the dialogue has went from being scripted to straight improv because sometimes you with the gun doesn't always sound with the same as, are you John Wong-Soo? Yes, I am John Wong-Soo. Good. You should know, Mr. Soo, that I've traveled a very long way to kill you. Then Mr. Soo will return with, I'm not the one that's gonna die. You're gonna die. And sometimes that doesn't translate on paper as well as it translates from a person. So you have to remember, when you're making a film, it's not just the creator, the director, and the writer, and the whole conglomerate that you fall into. It's your film too. So you want to do your best. And even if your best sucks, you still want to do your best. Because the guy who's editing it will decide if your shit sucks or not. But the guy who's making sure that you're in the film, who's over the editor's shoulders, like, yo, I need this person in the film. It's a guarantee that if you're in an independent film, most of the time, you're going to be in the whole film. So you get a role, and let's say your role, it only costs for you to have 2 scenes. Alright? You make those the best 2 damn scenes you've got. And, they're like, well, I like this part and this part, but I don't like this one. So they don't use that one, but they use this one. And that'll probably be the scene that you fucked up, like, every time. Or you got a case of the giggles, Josh. Anyway, when you're making these things, you have to understand it. This film is everybody's film. So you want to put forth your best. And that's just that. You want to put forth your best. I think if I can find the footage and I figure out how I can put all my fight scenes together in clips, then I will do that. Until I can, that's just an option. But I just want you guys to know that when you're making an independent film, especially here in Virginia, because we have studios, but there's no investing in those things, you have to put your best forward. Acting really ain't that hard. It really ain't. Remembering lines, that's the hard part. Selling it, that's the hard part. And having people show up that you are comfortable working with is probably the hardest part. And if you can get through that without the giggles and the laughter and the fun, you can get a really decent picture out of it. And to be honest, every film I've made, I've been able to film in less than 2 months. And the reason that is we schedule everything so that we have these days set. So most of the time we film on Saturday. If the weather allows it, we film. If the weather doesn't allow it, I ask people if you want to have a meeting so that when we can set up the next film appointment, you can knock out a film in 2 months. Now, like Mr. Perry just made a film in 8 days. You can do that because we filmed in 2 months. So basically we filmed 4 Saturdays and 4 Sundays if they had it. So that's like 8 days. So you can do it. It's not inefficient. And if they have enough Saturdays free, or they have enough time on Saturday, you can film a film in 2 days, especially if it's an independent film. You can film in 2 days. Now, putting it together will take more than 8 days unless you have everything filmed in exact order and everything was done exactly the way the director or the writer sees it. And if the director and the writer is the same guy, then you're one step above the game. Because if the writer is a good writer and the director is a great director, Now they got to see eye to eye. So now that's where we, the actors, come in to do what we're supposed to do to make their movie convincing that someone's going to want to watch it. All right. So for my 37 followers here, thank you. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to put up things that I wanted to put up, and I will put up more old martial art videos that I can no longer do until a doctor clears me. So I'm praying that Dr. Sargent gives me the okay to do everything but wushu. So I was like, okay, so because wushu is one of the toughest martial arts that is, because there's a lot of thumping and ground pounding and shit like that. So that shit's not an option. But if I can get back into jumping spin kicks and things like that, I'm sure as hell gonna do it. And then I'm going to be back into making more martial art films. So unless I can convince my guys to let's make a scary movie, now we can do that. We'd be in great shape. Anyway, I'm James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2. Peace, seeing you.